So, if you've ever played modern Call of Duty Zombies, you probably interacted with the Arsenal machine probably hundreds, if not thousands of times at this point. You either walk up to it to upgrade your weapon rarity or add an ammo mod onto your gun, which on paper, that sounds great to be honest, because more weapon customization just means more progression and more things to spend resources on, in my opinion. But here's the problem. I don't think Zombies even needs the Arsenal machine. In fact, I think honestly removing it not only would make it feel like more like classic Zombies again, but it would also simplify things a little bit more in my opinion. And to understand why, we need to look at what the Arsenal machine actually does in the first place. Because let's face it, there's just way too many upgrade systems right now. One of the biggest strengths of classic Zombies was how simple the weapon progression was. You basically started with the weak pistol until you got some points to buy a better weapon until you would pack a punch that weapon, and that was basically it. That's all you had to do to upgrade your guns. Now, of course, there were other systems layered on top of that, but your weapon progression had a very clear identity, and pack a punch was the weapon upgrade. You knew exactly what you were working towards for the most part, and modern Zombies kind of changed that, where now instead of thinking about simply just needing to pack a punch, now you have to worry about like weapon rarities and ammo mods and pack a punch as well. It basically gets to the point where your weapon feels more like a piece of loot that you're constantly optimizing, and that's where the Arsenal machine starts to hurt the experience a little bit, in my opinion. Just think about what made pack a punch so satisfying in the first place. It was the fact that you could take a weapon that was starting to fall off, put it in the pack-a-punch machine, and suddenly it started to do way more damage and started to be really good. Gun would basically have a brand new identity, do more damage, and have a different name and stuff like that, which granted, they still do that with pack-a-punch nowadays, but sometimes you would also have weapons that would have completely different effects when you pack-a-punch them, and some guns would just have a completely different feel and look after you pack-a-punch them as well, and the Arsenal machine doesn't really have that. Like, you basically walk up to a machine, hold a button to spend some salvage, and your weapon gets a little bit better, and then you do it again and again until your weapon becomes the most powerful you can get. Not to mention, it feels like every single upgrade is just incremental from the last one, and when everything is constantly being upgraded, individual upgrades become less meaningful as well. Another issue I have with the Arsenal machine is the fact that it just creates way too many currencies, in my opinion. Now, classic Zombies had a very elegant economy, which was basically points. You killed zombies to get points, you spent points on doors, you bought weapons with points, you bought perks with points, you pack a punch with points. It was simple. Now you have points and salvage and all of these other upgrade systems that you have to keep up with all at the same time. Like, don't get me wrong, none of these systems are inherently bad. The problem is that they all compete for your attention. Like, instead of killing zombies and thinking about survival, you're constantly thinking about resource optimization. Like, do I have enough salvage, or do I have enough points to even upgrade my armor and stuff like that? It's just a lot more that it takes to set up in the match that I feel like it should. Something that I also think gets overlooked is weapon progression is supposed to have a little bit of tension. Like, when your gun starts becoming weak, that's a problem you need to figure out how you're going to solve. Like, maybe you're gonna buy a new weapon, or you're gonna pack a punch, or you're gonna use traps or something like that. Like, it creates decision. But when you can simply just spawn in with a certain weapon and just keep upgrading that same weapon, not only does it not create any tension as it just makes the gun really overpowered, but it also de-incentivizes you from like wanting to hit the mystery box or anything, since you're only gonna use that one gun. Like, in my opinion, weapons don't really become obsolete just because of how the mechanics work in modern zombies. And that's really where modern zombies separates itself from classic zombies, is the fact that you can already spawn gone into the map knowing what weapon you're going to use, and you already have your attachments and your full weapon build all kitted out at the start of the map. So you're most likely going to keep that weapon, which again makes the mystery box become obsolete in my opinion, which also makes wall buys less important as well. Because why would I gamble on some random weapon when I already have the exact gun I want, and the arsenal machine just reinforces that philosophy. Now, I'm not saying modern zombies should go back to 2011 and completely remove weapon customization, because that's not what I'm saying whatsoever. Like, I think attachments and loadouts are completely fine because I like weapon variety. The problem is that how many layers of progression do we need? Like, I'd much rather see zombies simplify the weapon system than just add more systems to make the game more complicated. Like, give us a strong weapon economy and make Pack-a-Punch more meaningful again. Also, if I get a random weapon from the mystery box, I should actually have a reason to use it. And if I find a gun off the wall, it should be a meaningful option. Make my weapons start falling off at round 10 so that I have to go Pack-a-Punch to make it stronger. Like, those are the kind of decisions that make the zombies gameplay more intense in my opinion. Now, the arsenal machine isn't necessarily a terrible mechanic, and I do understand why they added it into the game because it's convenient and it gives players more control and lets them customize their weapons more. And if you enjoy that system, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think modern zombies has reached a point where more systems aren't necessarily making the game better anymore. Sometimes they just make the game much more busier and just make players have to do way more shit. Like, every decision that I make in the game should be a meaningful decision. When I spend points on a weapon, I want that weapon to matter, and when I spend points to Pack-a-Punch it, I want that gun to absolutely clap. When I open the mystery box, I want to actually be excited about what comes out because that's where zombies gets interesting in my opinion, not when the game gives me 10 different ways to make my weapon stronger. Like, just remove weapon rarities and then take ammo mods and put them into the crafting table or something. That way it will be one less system that people have to worry about it. Or hell, even put ammo mods back in the Pack-a-Punch or something. Like, every time you Pack-a-Punch your gun, it could get a unique effect or something, like dead wire or something. And removing the arsenal machine, like I said, would hopefully also give the mystery box and wall weapons more of a purpose as well. I just personally think we don't need the arsenal machine, and I feel like it's just an extra mechanic that zombies just doesn't really need in my opinion. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys think that the arsenal machine is actually a good mechanic, or do you think it's unnecessary and they can do some other way of upgrading your gun in the game rather than having so many mechanics that you have to rely on? Alright, that's all I got for this video. See ya.